Money. The short answer to the question in the video title, it's money and a little bit of laziness. So what am I talking about? Well, Star Wars is the biggest second biggest media franchise in history, behind Pokemon. I should be doing a Pokemon video. Star Wars has spanned 8 films and had countless spin-off video games, books, comic books, socks, lunchbox, you name it. Now, to very generally sum up the film series, fans consider them to go like this. Original trilogy, great. Prequel trilogy, bad. And the sequel trilogy is pretty good. Oh, what about the cartoon, hey? Okay, so the movies aren't the only thing in the franchise. Yes, there's a cartoon, comic books, and there's novels. Now, some of those novels and comics have some amazing Star Wars stories. Stories that many people consider much better than a lot of the prequel movies. And so a lot of people finding themselves asking, why are the prequel trilogy movies that are terrible canonical in the Star Wars universe? The comic books and the novels, they don't count. Whereas the prequel trilogy we just let happen. So to understand the answer to this question, you need to know a little bit of history about what happened to Star Wars, especially in recent years. Up until 2012, George Lucas and Lucasfilm owned Star Wars. Before that time, the expanded universe, it was supposed to enhance the movie story and make it better and more enjoyable, and George Lucas could basically draw from what he wanted from the expanded universe, but also, if he did want to, could ignore stories that other artists had written if he wanted to go in a different direction. So say if some novel had described the Force without midichlorians, then George Lucas said, "No, I want to do the midichlorians, screw that guy." Then he was allowed to do that. But other than those kinds of stories that George Lucas wanted to tell a different version, those expanded universe stories and comic books and novels were canon. They counted in the Star Wars universe as, you know, as being real, as existing. But in 2012, George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. For a record $4 billion, I'm reading here. So George walks away with his money bags, and Disney has the Star Wars universe, including all the expanded comic books and novels and the movies. They just keep it. For 2 years, they don't do anything about it. That was 2012. The Force Awakens only came out in 2015, so they took their time to prepare to actually add to the universe. In 2014, they basically discounted all of the previous Star Wars expanded universe stuff. They didn't outright say that none of it happened, but they changed it so that it became Star Wars Legends. Basically saying that the stuff that you've read in your favorite Star Wars novels and comics may have happened, but it's just a legend. So maybe it didn't happen. The real reason behind that, essentially, is laziness. Disney at that time would have been writing the scripts and the story outlines for the sequel trilogy that they had planned. They probably didn't want to make a movie, release it, and then fans in the audience say, actually, in comic 343, you had Han Solo got a metal pinky, and in this movie he has a flesh pinky, so they could write new movies without having to pay attention to anything other than the previous films in the franchise. This is lazy. Lucasfilm kept track of all of the, universe changes that the expanded universe stuff had made, so it's not like there wasn't a record of what had and hadn't been, written down as lore in the Star Wars universe through the expanded media. I guess Disney just didn't want to have to sift through all the archives and say, ooh, what do we gotta pay attention to, when we write the next movie? Well, okay. Why didn't they then say, alright, episode 1, 2, and 3, they don't have to exist anymore. We can ignore that. We can write a whole new story about why the Force exists, and we don't have to have midichlorians or anything. We can just expunge Jar Jar from the entire universe. He just never existed. This is where money comes in. The reason they can't just throw away the prequel trilogy, if they did that, they would lose a lot of money. They had no problem throwing away a lot of the expanded universe content, because if they did, and people stopped buying them, that's really not a big loss. Comic books and those Star Wars novels don't make Disney a lot of money. They don't care if people stop buying those books because they're like, oh, I'm not going to buy this anymore if it doesn't even count in the universe. But if they did that to 3 movies that all, well, I'm pretty sure, let me check, that all made nearly $1 billion each, if they decided to just drop those from the canonical Star Wars universe, you would see a huge decline in people buying those 6 movie saga box sets on Blu-ray, and people just wouldn't bother buying, the original trilogy. Disney still wants to sell those movies, and they unfortunately can only sell them if they're a part of the universe. So, if you've ever been reading your favorite Star Wars comic and wondered, hey, I wonder if this counts in the Star Wars universe. Well, it doesn't, and this is why. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in next video for Pokemon, the official YouTube video. Bracket, not clickbait. Bracket, please watch this. Alright, thanks.